The sign wasn't there yesterday. "Midnight Museum, grand opening tonight," it read in bold black letters. Beneath it, a warning in smaller print: "Enter at your own risk." The museum appeared out of nowhere, tucked between a diner and an old hardware store on Main Street. Nobody remembered it being built, but there it was, its brass doors gleaming under the flickering streetlights. Jack was the first to venture inside. He wasn't one for superstition, and he figured a midnight stroll through a museum was better than staring at his cracked ceiling. The inside was grand, far bigger than the storefront suggested. A heavy smell of wax and polish filled the air, and a dim chandelier cast trembling shadows across the floor. Jack noticed the exhibits right away: life-sized wax figures frozen in hauntingly realistic poses. The first scene stopped him cold. It showed a man sprawled on a bloody carpet, a pair of scissors buried in his chest. A wax woman knelt nearby, her hands covered in crimson, her face twisted in terror. Jack shivered. The details were too perfect, the blood glistening as if fresh, the glassy fear in the woman's eyes. Then he saw the plaque: "Murder of Gerald Price, January 17, 1974. Stabbed by his wife, Patricia." Jack frowned. That was the old Price case. Everyone in town had heard about it. The next exhibit was just as chilling: a waxy reconstruction of the Hartley Bridge collapse from 1992. Jack remembered that one, too. His uncle had been one of the victims. The further he walked, the more uneasy he felt. The exhibits weren't just lifelike, they were familiar. Every scene depicted a tragedy from their small town's past. But then, near the end of the corridor, Jack froze. The newest exhibit was unfinished. The figures were still pale and glossy, as if the wax hadn't fully set. The plaque beneath read: "Murder at Main Street Diner, January 25th, 2025, 2:47 a.m. Jack checked his watch. It was 2:13 a.m. His blood ran cold as he recognized the figures. A waxy version of himself sat in a booth, his throat slit, blood pooling on the table. Across from him was another figure, one he didn't recognize, holding a knife. The air grew heavy, and the museum's lights flickered. Behind him, the brass doors slammed shut. Jack turned, his breath quickening, only to see a shadow moving at the far end of the room. The figure from the unfinished exhibit stepped into the dim light, its waxy knife glinting in its hand. "Welcome to the Midnight Museum," it whispered. They found the museum empty the next morning, except for one new exhibit: Jack's frozen body, sitting at a diner booth, blood spilling from his throat. The plaque beneath read: "Murder of Jack Miller, January 25th, 2025. And by the next night, the museum had vanished.